Let's check this comment out. And this is the basis for this video. I want everybody to listen up. Drop what you're doing, take a chill pill, sit down, and get ready to listen. Because everybody's fucking protocol depends on this. Comment on our YouTube channel goes, been in both camps and have been on TRT for 4 years. What I've concluded, at least in me, is estrogen is always the problem. Crux of the issue is I bring my dose down to between 112 and 119 milligrams a week and zero issues at all erection-wise, but then I lose a good amount of that drive you get on TRT to begin with. Throw in an AI and it's boner city and fun times until you overshoot it. Yes, this is the crux of the issue, and there is a solution to this problem and a solution to everybody's problem, but nobody's going to be able to figure it out for themselves unless they know what systems to target with which hormones. So let's break it down. You want to dial in on TRT? Finally, hear this. All right, before we start the video, look, Cortex Labs, which is my company, is a TRT guidance and sexual dysfunction resolution company. Primarily what we do is help people that are on TRT to fix libido and erection issues. Two major products that we have right now, which is Mastering Testosterone Sipping. It's a video course that teaches you how to do that, specifically to get that teenage-style sexual function back, every imaginable protocol, a process by which to do that. It's a video course. Get it at livecortex.com or down in the description of this video. Lastly, I am a coach on HRT, specifically around libido and erections, sexual function for guys that are on TRT, cycles, HRT, whatever the problem is, we'll get it resolved. You can hire me in under a minute for either a call or longer one-on-one packages for serious sexual dysfunction at livecortex.com. Lastly, I put source list back up with 3 new vendors for a brief period. It's down in the description of this video. Go get it. All right, so I want to read this entire comment to you guys, and then let's get to the crux of the matter. Let's solve this guy's issue live on air and let it teach everybody a lesson. All right, now, look, this is in response to DHT provider and TRT hacks, E2 control, and high-level androgenization. This is an hour-and-a-half long podcast that me and Dave Lee did some time ago. This guy goes, been in both camps and have been on TRT for 4 years. What I've concluded, at least in me, is estrogen is always the problem. Perfect health. I do all the things I know I should be doing, you know, low body fat, etc. Right? So, I mean, this idea that you can just be like at 10 to 15% body fat and thyroid hormones functioning optimally, and you're just going to magically fucking aromatize to your Goldilocks zone on a modest dose of TRT like 150 is bullshit. Every single time I raise my dose to above 130 a week, initially I get a surge in motivation and energy, and in 3 weeks, my dick goes numb, and I need 20 milligrams of Cialis to maintain a semi-chub erection. Do you know how much PDE5 inhibition 20 milligrams of Cialis delivers? It's a lot. And if you can go from having good erections to 20 of Cialis, not even being able to induce a full erection, you obviously have a problem. Guy goes, I knock my dose down to 112 to 119 milligrams and zero issues at all erection-wise. But then you lose a good amount of that drive you got on TRT in the first place. Libido also takes a hit, even though your dick will work. I'm going to explain why that happens and how to fix it here in a second. He goes, some dudes just need an AI point blank, and there's no let estrogen settle and do its thing. You know how people like to say that. Been there, done that, and it's never worked out for me. Okay? This guy's experience is not unique. Plenty of people, defectors from these other YouTube channels that, you know, tell you not to manage estrogen, try that strategy on what we would consider regular doses of TRT, 130 to 150. It doesn't work out for people. It doesn't. Guy goes, throw in an AI and it's boner city and fun times for all until you overshoot the AI. Yeah, notoriously hard drugs to get on a set it and forget it schedule. Guy goes, yeah, dude, this is a tough one. I swap between low dose, no AI for periods, and then run higher dose with AI for periods. May look into doing another trial with prop soon. All right, so let's break down what the problem is, and then let's break down the solution. And what I want this to do is influence everybody on TRT, period, because you're going to learn something here, and especially people that are in this pickle. First point to make, okay? Above 130, dick goes south, needs Cialis to get a semi-chub, not even a full erection. What does that tell us? Well, it's not that SHBG is lowered. It's not that DHT is too high. It's not that testosterone is too high. It's not that his blood is thickening from, hematocrit, and therefore, he can't get an erection. All of that is untrue. None of those things have the ability to make it so that you need 20 of Cialis to get a semi-erection. High test, high DHT, even elevated hematocrit, do not cause ED, okay? We're not talking about fucking cardiovascular disease and arterial plaque. The reason this happens is because estrogen, the hormone that they give men that are transitioning to females so that they lose erectile quality, stop having male sex drive, and start feminizing, and to the point where it ultimately shrinks, the male organ. That's the reason that his dick goes south. Now, that's the first problem. Then, guy goes down to between 112 and 119 milligrams of TRT a week, and the erections come back. Well, why? Well, because estrogen is inhibiting them. But then you lose the drive, a lot of the drive you had on TRT, largely the libido, but a degree of that sort of confident, assertive, cool, calm, grounded male state. And libido takes a hit, even though, the erections still are okay. They work at 112 to 119 milligrams a week. Now, if your dick works, but your libido is shit, and your drive is trash on 112 to 119 milligrams a week, what is missing? Some people would look at that and go, well, I guess estrogen is too low. No, estrogen is not too low at 112 to 119 milligrams a week. Estrogen's probably in a favorable place, maybe still slightly high. What this person is missing in that case are two things: DHT, number one, and proper intratesticular function, number two. But you might think, well, you could just up the dose and get enough DHT. That's not how it works when there's an overload of estrogen. So the answer in this guy's case is the following. It's to keep the low doses, because bottom line, the lower doses keep estrogen in your sexual sweet spot zone, which you must have to have good sexual function on TRT. Secondarily, you add between, on the low end, 150 to the high end, 350 or so IU of HCG every day. Thirdly, because that's probably going to send the aromatization a little bit over where you need to be, but not substantially over where you need to be. Thirdly, you need DHT, preferably exogenously, so 20% DHT gel, which you can find in source list up here, or a little bit of a fast-acting testosterone modality that provides a disproportionate amount of DHT versus estradiol to counter that extra little overage of estrogen, induced by that extra HCG, but you need the HCG for the testicular function to be sound. And in this case, that would be test cream. Test cream. What I would do in this guy's case, because he's obviously in this limbo period where he really can't find a permanent sustainable solution, is to do a hybrid protocol of TRT at those low doses, of HCG between 150 and 350 IU per day, and a small amount of test cream applied transcrotally every day. Then the function in the sex organs, testicles, which are sex organs, and the penis itself, heavily influenced by HCG, from HCG can be intact. Some degree of extra aromatization will happen from the HCG. It stimulates Leydig cells to produce estradiol. It's not going to go crazy systemic and raise things completely out of control, but it might take you over your bar. So you bring in a little rapidly DHT converting test cream, apply it transcrotally, and let that DHT balance out the estradiol, because that's what it does, assuming estrogen isn't super, super high. The DHT in this case also contributes strongly to sex drive. The right amount of DHT counterbalancing E2, but just DHT itself being both in the sex organ and binding to androgen receptors in the brain heavily influences primal libido. You know, the libido where you barely can fucking contain yourself, you know, around a woman that you like or whatever it is that you're into. Also, the erections from DHT itself via endothelial nitric oxide synthase optimization and hosts of other factors, because DHT is the dominant androgen in penile tissues that facilitates erections and keeps the health of the penis. DHT then makes the erections stronger. So what do you get? You get intratesticular function, which supports neurosteroids and libido, supports the actual blood flow of the organ itself. It supports intra-sex organ DHT. It supports an even favorable balance of test, DHT, and estradiol in the sex organs. And then you have DHT compensating for the potential overage in estradiol and giving you the little bit of extra DHT that you definitely do need. That's why he lost drive and libido went away on the lower doses, because it's not enough DHT. But if you raise the dose of testosterone, yeah, you get more DHT, but you get more estradiol, and you're at a fucking stalemate and it doesn't work. The little bit of DHT from test cream, or you could use transdermal DHT, but low doses of it, because you don't need a lot. You just don't need a lot in these cases. Solves every single one of these problems. Now the erections are even better. The libido is fucking insatiable. And that male assertive dominant drive is intact. Look, all right, we have known that DHT has the ability to counter estradiol, right? It's all over the literature. And we recently discovered that DHT itself downregulates the instructional gene for the production of aromatase enzymes. So you end up making less of them, and therefore you have less conversion to estradiol in that DHT-centered state. Too much DHT does too much of this kind of aromatase suppression, you know, estrogen kind of blocking, and, you know, that'll kill your libido as well. I mean, estrogen, it can't be crushed. It can't be fully fucking inhibited. That's why people take AIs and, you know, their libido goes away. But it needs to be just enough, not over, not under, and then everything works beautifully, by the way, including a massive increase in sensation and like the pleasure of a climax and the speed with which you do it. If people could understand that nuance, your life on TRT is going to be so much easier. That it might be the case that you need to be down to those lower doses, but you do need some ancillaries, okay? Ancillaries sometimes settle protocols, DHT derivatives, DHT itself, or test cream. You know, even a little bit of prop in some cases, because it, you know, converts a lot to DHT. It is okay to have to use some ancillaries, one ancillary, on top of your protocol in order to settle things out and smooth things over. It happens all the time with my clients, and it's a weapon that I've used to just dial people in so they can live their lives and have great teenage-style sexual function and be happy with the hormones that they're taking while feeling awesome and anabolic and assertive at the same time. Hear everything that I just said if you're in that situation, okay? You know, you go high dose, you take an AI, things work, everything's good, and then you overshoot the AI. You know, you go down to low doses, your erections work, but your libido is garbage and your drive is garbage. You have to be supplying the DHT to cover the libido and the drive while not tanking estrogen too much, but also, you know, you got the testicular function working from HCG, but you're suppressing some of that estradiol a little bit, be down-regulating a little bit of the genes that produce aromatase enzymes. Then you're dialed in. Because in the end, that's the full picture. Enough DHT, estrogen in the sweet spot, and functional testicles. That's the solution. So Matthew, Edub, hope that's been useful. I responded to your comment like in short here, but I wanted to break this down on the video. And everybody else paying attention to this stuff, take heed to the instructions, the breakdown, the nuance that I've given in this video, because your protocol depends on it. All right, boys, look, as I said in the beginning, source list is back. I'm not sure how long it's going to be up. I'm going to pull it down soon. So, you know, I decided to bring it up. There are three additional vendors. So there are more vendors with hundreds of additional products and options. Everything you can think of, including HMG now, as well as, you know, high potency DHT. It's just about having access to stuff that your clinic might not be able to prescribe you, that honestly, if you need to dial in, ancillaries, right? Sometimes people need these ancillaries. A lot of times they need it because their body just isn't dealing with TRT, AIs, etc. the right way. Just get sourceless. Just get sourceless. You have everything you want right away. It's down in the description of this video. If you're trying to dial in on cypionate, especially regarding libido and erections, get Mastering Testosterone Cypionate. It's about an hour and 5 minutes video course. Breaks down every imaginable protocol. If you're having trouble dialing in sexual function on testosterone cypionate, get the video course and you'll solve your problem. But if you'd like to skip all of that and just have me coach you through it, this is what I do. I've got a lot of great reviews. I've seen thousands of men over the years. I know what to do in these situations. If you got some serious sexual dysfunction and you recognize the need for time for us to go at this with every imaginable resource, hire me for a one-on-one package, okay? If you need a discount to book on any of those, send me an email and I'll get you one. I want you on board and I'll save you some money. And you can go back to the rest of your life and let me focus on dialing you in. I know how to do it. Hire me for any of that stuff under a minute. livecortex.com. We'll get on the fact-finding call or exchange as soon as tomorrow. All right, the end of the video is that's all I got. Hold on. All right, guys, that's been... Sorry. Give me this. All right, we're done here. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Hope you had a great weekend so far. Do me 2 favors. Like the video. Makes a huge difference. More than you know. So if you want to do anything for me, man, it really makes me feel good when you guys hit that like button. I'd love for you to do it. Sub to the channel. 33K subs and growing. I'd love to have you on board. We talk about this stuff every week. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on. Enjoy the rest of your day. More content coming soon. Live stream this Saturday. And I'll talk to you boys on the next one.